Hello students. In this video lecture, we are going to discuss about the memory management scheme called paging. Paging is one of the very sophisticated and advantageous memory management scheme, and comparing to the previous schemes, namely the fixed partitioning and variable partitioning, paging overcomes the drawbacks we noticed in those schemes. So when it comes to the fragmentation, internal and external fragmentation, paging drastically reduces fragmentation, and also it gives a new flexibility into the allocation scheme also. So we will explore the various aspects of paging, and through that we can understand why paging is considered to be the most efficient memory management scheme, and it is widely adopted in many of the operating systems. These are the characteristics of paging. Paging eliminates the need of processes to be handled as a whole, which is a significant development and or revolution happened in the memory management, that you no longer need to load the whole process into the memory, unlike the previous schemes. So here the operating system has the option to deal with the process in smaller pieces or portions instead of as a single large process. Secondly, it allows processes to be partitioned into units called pages. So this is actually the meaning of pages. So what do you mean by page is that a page is a small piece of a process. So every process gets divided into a number of pieces, and each piece will be called as a page, and all the pages are of equal size. The main memory is also partitioned into units called page frames. So paging does not end with just partitioning the processes, it also makes partitioning of the memory. So both the processes as well as the main memory gets divided into partitions, and when it comes to the partition of a process, we call them as pages, whereas the partitions of a memory are called as frames. It's just a matter of terminology, but both are equivalent, and the sizes of the pages are also very much equivalent to the sizes of frames. So whenever a process needs to be loaded into memory, then it is just a matter of identifying sufficient number of frames for a given process, because the process is also divided into equal sized pages, and similarly the memory is also divided into equal sized frames. Now you just have to fit the pages into frames, so the memory allocation becomes very simple. You don't need to find a single large partition which is equal to the size of the process. You just need to find a number of frames which are equal to the number of pages. So only the numbers have to match, you don't need to match the sizes. The frames of a process need not be contiguous. This is one more advantage, that you don't even need to find contiguous frames, they can even be scattered across the memory. I think this picture will and just a point I missed that. So now that you are going to load any page in any frame, then how do you locate it when it has to be accessed? For that we need the additional data structure called page table. So a page table is constructed and maintained for every process, which will give the mapping between frames and pages. This picture is likely to give you a better understanding of the idea I'm discussing. So if you look at this, this is process 1, which is of 4 KB. The actual size of the process is 4 KB, and there is another process called A3, which is of 3 KB, and there is a whole main memory which is 16 KB. Now under the implementation of paging, it has been decided to implement 1 KB as frame size as well as the page size. This is a choice of the designer of the operating system. So accordingly, this has been chosen that 1 KB should be treated as size of a page size as well as a frame size. As a result of that, A1 gets divided into 4 pages, because it's originally comprising of 4 KB, and dividing that into pages of 1 KB results in 4 pages, whereas A3 is divided into 3 pages, and the entire memory is divided into 16 frames. That is because the 16 KB memory is divided into uh, frames of 1 KB, so it results in 16 KB of or 16 frames. Now you have to load this process into memory, which is actually equivalent to load the pages of the process into frames of the memory. So you have loaded page 1 of process 1 into first frame, second page into second frame, whereas the third page is actually loaded somewhere else in the memory. It has been loaded out of order. So that is another point you have to note down, that in this arrangement it is not even important or necessary that the pages have to be loaded into consecutive frames. They can be loaded in any frame. So this page has been loaded into a different frame which is not in the sequence. Similarly, page 3 is also, process A3 is also loaded into certain frames in the memory. So this is the arrangement. Okay, and these are called pages and these are called frames. Now the big question is that when they are not loaded in consecutive addresses, then how can you locate them? For example, at some point of time the CPU demands this particular page, it wants to execute some instruction in this page. As a result, it sends the address of that particular instruction which is part of this page. Now in order to execute it, the OS has to locate, or the memory controller has to locate, where this page is actually loaded into the memory, into the main, or in other words, in which frame this page has been loaded. So that is that cannot be said from with the help of this particular page process, and main memory don't have that information. So you need an additional support called the page table. So the page table is now needed. Given the page number, you have to retrieve the frame number, and for that you just have to go to the page table of the respective process, and then use the page number as the index into that page table, and inside it you will have the frame number. So actually these these blocks will be filled with the frame numbers. So now you can go to the frame number and you can retrieve and send the instruction to the CPU. This is how it actually functions. So you are going to divide every process into a set of pages, and the entire main memory into a number of frames, and both will be of equal size. Frame size and page size are chosen to be of equal size, and after that you can load any page into any memory. But as long as you have updated the page table properly, even if they are if the pages are not loaded in consecutive addresses or consecutive frames, it will not affect the retrieval process, because you can just go to the page table, retrieve the page number, frame number, and then you can access the actual page content of the process. Now the benefits of paging: more number of processes can be loaded than the actual capacity of the memory. And one more point you should understand from here is that when I have to load this process, previously I have to load the whole process, because the entire process is treated as a one indivisible entity. So you can't load half of the process, you have to load the entire process. But now that we have created pages of a process, it is optional to load the whole process, and most likely the operating system will only load some pages of the process which are currently needed for execution, not all the pages. So if this is followed for each and every process, then no process need to be entirely loaded into the main memory. They are only loaded partially, and as a result you can actually load more number of processes than the actual capacity of the main memory. Pages that are rarely executed can be avoided from loading. You can avoid the loading of pages which are generally not required, and pages that are already executed can be removed from memory even if that process still runs. You don't need to wait for the completion of the process to remove all its pages. Some of the pages which are already executed, they can be selectively removed from the main memory, creating space for another process to load. And another very significant advantage of paging is that it completely eliminates external fragmentation. If you look at this arrangement, when external fragmentation will occur is that when you are going to divide the memory into random partitions or variable sized partitions. As a result, you could generate small pieces of partitions which are going to be unusable. But with the paging, the partitions are of fixed sizes. So it's going to be a chosen size and it's never going to be further divided. The size of the frame is never going to be altered, and as a result, it will never experience external fragmentation. Then what about internal fragmentation? Internal fragmentation is not actually removed by paging. It does exist under paging, but it will be very minimal. So if at all there is internal fragmentation, it will be confined only in the last page or in the last frame that contains the last page. That is because let us assume that this process is of 5 KB. Okay, in this case it won't result in any amount of internal fragmentation. But for the sake of understanding this, let us assume that the frame size as well as the page size is 2 KB. Just assume that it's not 1 KB but it is chosen to be 2 KB, and now the process is of 5 KB. Now what will happen is that you will be requiring 3 pages or 3 frames to load this particular process. So page 1 will load frame 1, page 1 will be loaded into frame 1, and page 2 will be loaded into second frame, and the third page will be loaded into frame 3. You won't have any internal fragmentation in the first frame and the second frame because they are going to have 2 KBs. So first frame will have 2 KB, second will have 2 KB, which is actually the capacity. But the third frame will only contain 1 KB of information because the last page of the process is going to be only 1 KB. So there is an additional memory in that frame which is of 1 KB, which remains unused, and that is going to be treated as internal fragmentation. So in this way, it is possible that paging could result in internal fragmentation, and that is always confined to the last page alone, and the overall the internal fragmentation is going to be significantly lower than the previous schemes. So paging is efficient when it comes to tackling fragmentation. And this was already mentioned that in order to run a process, you only need to load a portion of it, and remaining pages can be kept in the virtual memory or in the secondary memory disk. Now we are going to look at a simple example. Assume that the main memory is 8 KB. So given that the main memory is 8 KB and the frame size is 1 KB, which means that the main memory will be divided into a collection of 8 frames, each of 1 KB, and it's going to be like this. So we have divided the main memory into 8 frames of equal size, which is 1 KB. Similarly, there are 4 processes in the system: A1 of size 3 KB, A2 of size 5 KB, A3 is of 2 KB. Now you also have to divide them into 1 KB. That is the idea of paging. So they have been divided into different number of pages. Remember that the number of pages in each process will differ. They are not going to be uniform. That is depending upon the size of the processes. So accordingly, these number of pages have been created into each page, each process. And finally, when you have to load the processes into main memory, you just have to load the pages into frames. So they have been loaded like this. And additionally, you need the creation of the page table. So actually this is the overhead: creation of a page table and accessing the page table whenever you want to access any page is actually a overhead. It's going to take some additional time, but still the advantage overweigh the disadvantage, so it is still acceptable. So now you have to construct the page table for A2. Where the page 1 of the A2 is loaded, it is loaded in the frame 5. So frame 1, okay, so it's this particular we are talking about A2, which is of blue color. So its page 1 is loaded into frame 1, and its page 2 is loaded into 7th frame, next 4th frame, next they are not loaded, so which means that they are going to be filled with the null values. And that is what we had seen earlier, that it's not necessary to load all the pages of a process into memory at a time. You can selectively load some of the frames, and later you can load the remaining frames even by replacing the existing frames. That is all left to the operating system to decide. So as of now, these two pages are not loaded in any of the frames. So the execution will commence from frame 1, and it will go on to execute all the 3 frames. Assume that at some point of time the CPU demands the page 4 of A2, that is, this particular page is being referred by the CPU. Probably some instruction in this page needs to be executed, so CPU sends the address which is part of this particular page. Now the memory management unit will check in the page table whether that page is already loaded into any frame, and it will come to this particular index. As I told you, page number will be used as an index into the page table, so it comes here, and here it notices that it does not contain the address of the frame, instead it only has a null value. This situation is called as a page fault. So whenever the required page is not yet loaded into any frame and its page table contains a null value, then that situation is called page fault. A page fault will result in bringing that page from secondary memory or virtual memory into main memory and load it into one of the frames, and then update the frame number in this entry, and after that that instruction will be fetched from the frame, and then it will go to the CPU. So this is the arrangement under paging. So whenever a page is not found, it results in a page fault. Now we are going to look at a larger example. So assume that the total size of main memory is 600 MB, and the size of page or the frame is 550 MB, which simply means that, and one more point is that the process P1 is 200 MB and P2 is 300 MB. From this what we can understand is that there are going to be 12 frames, 16 MB, each frame is 50 MB, which means 12 frames are going to be available, and P1 is going to have 4 pages, P2 is going to have 6 pages. So this can happen like this. Now the pages are loaded into frames in random order, and there is also going to be a page table constructed for the each process. There will be a page table for P1 and there will be a page table for P2. Now we are getting into the next stage in the paging concept, which is about dealing with the addresses. That is the crux of the paging, because it's not going to work with the simple addressing. It is requiring hierarchical addressing. So to understand the need of it, just take this example. So addressing in paging. So we have assumed that a page is going to, or a frame is going to have 1 KB. It's not a fixed value, but it can even vary. But for the sake of this example, let us assume that a frame is made to be 1 KB. So what do you mean by 1 KB frame is that it's actually going to have 1024 bytes within itself, because 1 KB is equivalent to 1024 bytes. So when you say 1 KB frame, it's not going to have a single value, instead it's going to have 1024 separate bytes. So, and when you want to create addresses for uh, for this particular frame, it has to have 1024 bytes addresses, That is because generally addresses are byte addressable. So in your computer you have a main memory which comprises of a number of bytes. So you can calculate how many bytes are present in a 4 GB of RAM. So each byte is going to have a unique address. As a result of this, 1 KB frame require 1024 unique addresses starting from all zeros up to all ones. So you have to provide the address for, if you want to access any one of this byte, then you have to first reach the frame and then you have to specifically reach the actual byte within that frame. So this is the basic idea that is to be understood about addressing. So addressing requires you two levels. First you have to deal with the frame level and then you have to deal with the byte level. So you have to know which frame you are going to access, and once you know the frame, then you have to know which byte within the frame you want to retrieve. So two levels of addressing are needed, and if you extend this, then for page also the same two levels are required. So when it comes to the page, you need to know which page that needs to be accessed, and within the page which byte has to be accessed. That is called the page number and the offset value. So every generated by the CPU under the paging is going to have two values, comprised of two values. One is page number and other is offset value. So with the help of the page number, the memory management unit will go to the page table and then will retrieve the frame number. Once the frame number is found, then it will do this. It will go to that particular frame and then use the second value, which is the offset, which is nothing but the byte address, and retrieve that particular byte from the frame. The page number is used as an index into a page table, and the page table contains the base address or the frame number of each page in physical memory. If it is that, if that page is actually loaded into a frame, else it will have null value. And offset points to one of the bytes in the page that needs to be accessed. This base address is then combined with the page offset to define the physical memory address. So we are now going to use two terms, terminologies to differentiate the addresses. The combination of page number and offset is called logical address or virtual address. Okay, the combination of, and one more point to be added is that which type of address that will be supplied by the CPU. So whenever the CPU wants some information to be retrieved from memory, whether it will provide the virtual address or the physical address. The answer is that the CPU is completely unaware of the physical memory arrangement. It does not know about the paging concept, frames, nothing about it. It only looks at the logical address, that is it can only provide the virtual address, and from the virtual address extracting the page number and finding the frame number by going into the page table and then combining the frame number with the offset value to make a physical address or to translate the virtual address into physical address. It is all done by the memory management unit. It is completely unknown to the at the CPU level. So the CPU will feed only the virtual address and then this process will take place. So the page table contains the base address of each page in physical memory. Offset points to one of the bytes in the page that needs to be accessed, and finally you get the physical memory address. So replacing the page number by frame number is what called as memory translation under paging, and the translation happens between virtual address and physical address. What is virtual address? Virtual address is a combination of page number and offset. Physical address is a combination of frame number and offset. This is another example. Here the logical memory is of 64 bytes, which means it's a 2 power 6. So the number of bits required to address 64 bytes is 2 power 6, because one byte will have to have unique address. So 2 power 6 is minimum required for addressing 64 bytes. Similarly, page size is 16 bytes. So for that you need only 4 bytes, and which means with you will have totally 4 pages. So given that there are 16 pages, pages and uh, 64 bytes of logical memory. So we will have 4 pages of in the logical address space. So what it actually means is that page 1 will have the addresses in the range of 0000 up to 1111. So okay, let me just repeat it again. So the actual address is going to be of 6 bits. The actual address or actual logical address that is going to be dealt with at the CPU level is going to be of 6 bits. In those 6 bits, 2 bits will be used to refer the page number, and 4 bits will be used to refer the or identify the offset value. The reason for 2 bits is that you are going to have 4 pages. So given 4 pages, to differentiate them you need 2 bits, that is 00 for page 1, 01 for page 2, 10 for page 3, and 11 for page 4. So you need 2 bits, and within each page you need 16 bytes. That is 16, you are going to have 16 bytes. So if you want to uniquely address 16 bytes, then you require 4 bits. That is what you are seeing here. 4 bits are sufficient for uniquely addressing 16 bytes, as it is shown here. 0000 starts from this, and it goes up to 1111. So each page will have 16 bytes with the unique address. Now if you want to find out the address, then for example, take this case. Page number is given as 01, offset is given at 1100. That is that actually means that this is the page, and within that page you need this offset to be retrieved. But for that, what is required is that you have to find out the frame number. So page number has to be fed into the page table, and then you have to retrieve the frame number and replace the page number by the offset. Then what you find is the actual physical address. This is done with the help of the page table. Once you found out the actual physical address, then you can go to the memory. You first reach the frame, and then within that frame you reach the actual byte. That is with the help of the offset. This is the architecture that's employed for paging. So whenever CPU generates an address, it always generates only the logical address whose size is actually larger than the physical address. So the address is then subdivided into page number and offset, and the page number is used into the page table where you can retrieve the frame number, and then the offset does not need to be altered in any way, it just carry forwarded. So now the frame number is found, it is combined with the offset, and then you can go to the frame that is referred by F, which is frame number, and within the frame you can use the offset value to retrieve the specific byte, and then the information goes back to the CPU. So this is again an example. So it has got 4 pages, and there is a page table which has the frame numbers. Now the next aspect is that how do you choose the page size or the frame size? Both are equivalent. It is generally defined by the hardware. So depending upon the actual capacity of the memory, the sizes of the pages or frames are chosen. The size of the page is typically power of 2. This is whatever be the actual size, it's always chosen to be power of 2. That is because even numbers are easier to avoid the partial. If you choose the addresses to be of odd numbers, then it will result in some of the memory cannot be provided unique addresses. So it's always chosen to be power of 2, and the size of the pages are in practice are in between the range of 512 bytes and 16 MB, and it depends upon the computer architecture. The selection of the power of 2 as a page size makes the translation of a logical address into page number and page offset particularly easy. Now if the size of the, okay, and next question is that then how much of bits of the logical address has to be considered as frame number, how much of the bits of the logical address have to be considered as offset value. That is dictated by the size of the page. So if the size of logical address space is 2 power m and page size is 2 power n, and n is always less than m, because there are the logical address space is much larger than the number of frames. So in this case, addressing units, then the higher order m minus n bits of a logical address designate the page number. So if you know these two numbers, that is the whole memory is of 2 power m. In other words, m is the number of bits in the logical address and n is the number of bits required for the pages, each page. Then you will use m minus bits as the page number. The higher order m minus bits will be used for identifying the page number, and the remaining n bits will be used to identify the offset. So this is the simple logic that is used for identifying the or dividing the logical address into page number and page offset. Let us take an example for this. We have a computer that generates 16-bit addresses, which means that you can address 64 KB of logical memory. So with the help of 16 bits, the maximum addressable memory is 64 KB, which is in the range of 0 to 65535. It's just a calculation that 2 power 16 is equal to 0 to 65535. And these are actually virtual or logical addresses. And assume that the page size is 4 KB, which means it's going to have 12 bytes. So there are going to be 12 bytes in each page. Then we would have 16 pages. So the number of pages is going to be 16 because of 64 divided by 4. This computer, however, has only 32 KB of actual memory. So the actual physical memory available is only 32 KB. For that, you require 15 bits. So logical address requires 16 bits, but physical address requires only 15 because of the size difference. This is 64, but actually we only have 32 KB of main memory. So it requires 1 bit less than the logical address. And so we have 8 frames because we have 32 KB is going to be split into frames of size 4 KB. So 32 divided by 4 results in 8 frames. That means we could load maximum 8 pages of process into memory at a time. So what we can understand out of this information is that we may have at most 16 pages in the given arrangement, but out of the 16 pages we can only load 8 pages into main memory because the number of frames in the main memory is restricted to 8. So we can't load all the 16 pages into main memory at any point of time. We can only load 8 of them. Remaining pages will have to be kept in the virtual memory or the disk memory. This is what was being mentioned. So given that you have got 16 bits of logical address, it results in 4 bits being used for page number and 12 bits used for offset. The reason is 2 power 4 equal to 16. So because you are going to have 16 pages, to uniquely identify them you need 4 bits of addressing. 2 power 4 equal to 16. Whereas within each page you are going to have 4 KB of information, which means that 4096 bytes are going to be inside each and every page. For that you require 12 bits. So the overall 16 bits will be treated as two parts. 4 bits are treated as the page number, and the 12 bits will be treated as the offset. Now whenever an address comes from the CPU, it is of 16 bits. Now it is the job of the memory management unit to first extract the high order 4 bits and take it into the page table, find out the frame number pertaining to that page number, and then replace the page number by the frame number, combine it with the offset, and then use it as the physical address. Now this is finally we are going to take a simple example, but here it's only a decimal addressing, though actual addressing is going to be happening at the binary level, but just to keep it simple we are going to take a decimal example. So here, given that there is a logical memory and a physical memory, we are asked to find out the physical memory equivalent, physical address equivalent to 13. 13 is given as said to be a logical address because it refers to the page number or the page address. This is a page address and we have to convert it into a frame based physical address. How is it done? It's just need to follow the steps. Step 1 is find the page number pertaining to 13. So given 13, you divide it by page size. Page size is given as 4, so you have got 4 bytes in each page. So the size of a single page is 4 bytes. So 13 divided by 4 is 3. Step 1. Then locate the frame number for page 3. So now what you understand from the first step is that address 13 is actually going to be available in the third page, 0 page 0, page 1, page 2, page 3. So 13 must be somewhere in the third page. That information is found by this division. Now the next thing is that you have to find out the frame number equivalent to that particular page. For that you need to refer the page table. So you locate the frame number for page 3 using the page table. So you go to this page table and page 3 is actually loaded into second frame. So you now know the frame number and you have to do the final step, add the offset with the page address of frame 2. So now that you have found frame 2, to make it into a final address you have to add the offset. How do you find the offset? Again we have the simple formula, offset equal to address minus base. What is base? Base is nothing but the starting address of each page. Given that there are 4 bytes, the base of page 1 is 0, the base of page 2 is 4, and it goes on. Now you want to find out the offset. For that you have to subtract the base from address. What is the base of page 3? It's 12. So 13 minus 12 result in 1. So add 1 with the frame number which is 9, and now you go to the actual main memory, go to frame 9. You can actually see the value that is stored in, which is actually the value of the page located into the 9th frame. So this is a simple way by which we can understand how the addressing works in the paging. So I will be continuing the paging concept in the next lecture also, but this lecture should have given you a clear idea about the paging. So let me just summarize the salient features of paging. Paging allows you to divide both processes and memory into equal sized partitions, and you can load any page into any frame of the memory, and in order to map the page with the frame you need the page table. Addressing is actually a relatively complex process under paging because each address has to be subdivided into a portion for page number and a portion for offset. So once you extract the page number, then you can find out the frame number with the help of the page table and then replace the page number by the frame number. That becomes the physical address. Thank you.